Hey everybody, Chris AMS, hope you're well. Welcome to another video. Today we are looking at a Nissan Micra. It's a 2004 K12 variant. The customer complaint is that the engine light's on and sometimes it struggles to start. Now, interrogating the customer, they reckon it struggles to start, not necessarily just when it's cold, but it could at any point during the day. You could get in it and it could crank and crank and crank and the vehicle wouldn't start. So we're going to have a look and see if we can track down what the issue is. So stick with us and we'll track this fault down together. So first stop in any diagnosis is we want to confirm the fault. So we're going to start the vehicle up. Ignition on. And at this point the vehicle is starting okay. There was no elongated crank time or anything like that. Although what we'll see is we have the engine management light on. Now the customer has complained that there's three occasions where the vehicle has struggled to start, and actually when he dropped the vehicle off this morning, the vehicle actually cut out on him and he had to restart it to get it here. So I think our next step is we've confirmed there is a fault, that the engine light's on. The customers confirmed that the fault occurred today. We are going to plug the vehicle in and carry out a code scan and see what the management system has to say for itself. Right, so we've completed a code scan on the vehicle. As you can see, there is a fault code in the engine management system, P0340, camshaft position sensor problem, bank 1. Now, we have previous experience with this type of vehicle, and it's actually leading us towards, or from our experience, it's leading us towards the likelihood as this vehicle has got a stretched timing chain. So let's see if we can do a bit more research on that fault code, and then we can work our diagnostic assessment procedure from there. Using our snap-on Zeus, this has what they call intelligent diagnostics. So for this fault code, the most common component they reckon that's been replaced is the camshaft position sensor, followed by the crankshaft position sensor, engine timing kit, engine timing belt, which it doesn't have, engine timing chain, and ECU software update. Now, none of these are necessarily leading us in a direction. There's no technical bulletins associated with this fault code through Snap-on. Again, as we never replace any parts based on fault codes alone. We'll always test. So let's move on to our next bit of research material, which is Diagnose Dan, which is a brilliant tool that we use in this workshop, and it does help. It's no silver bullet, but it helps lead you in the right direction and hopefully gives you some technical information that's going to aid in your diagnostic process. So we'll have a look at that. We've got Diagnose Dan up. We've inputted our registration and we've put our fault code in, and it's come up with a specific bulletin retaining to the fault code that we have stored, and we can open that up and it's going to give us a technical bulletin. So it does cover the Nissan Micra, the fault code there for P0340 camshaft position sensor, and possible cause is a worn timing chain, possible solution replacement of the chain. Now we have seen these in the past where the chains have stretched, so luckily for us, Dan have shown us a known bad and a known good cam and crankshaft waveform, which we are going to have a look at. So we are going to test the crankshaft sensor, the camshaft sensor, and also do a comparative test between the two to see if we can see any abnormalities, to see whether either we've got a sensor problem or we've got a stretched chain. So the next step for our testing is to break out our oscilloscope and start playing. Right, so let's start off by identifying where our sensors are and where we're going to test from. So if we turn the camera around, we have a look. if we look down there in the top of the gearbox, that green plug, that is our crankshaft position sensor. So it's a 3-wire sensor. So we're going to look up on a wiring diagram in a bit, and we're going to carry out some tests on that. As well as that, how well we're going to be able to see that, I don't know, but just in the back there, that sensor there that goes into the back of the cylinder head is our camshaft position sensor. So we have another sensor that we can have a look at, and then again, like I said, we're going to do some comparative testing between the two. So let's have a look at the chain, and let's have a look at what it's supposed to do and why it's not working. Right, so a timing chain is a metal chain, looks a lot like a bicycle chain on your push bike. Some vehicles have timing chains, some vehicles have timing belts, but they do the same job. The idea is to keep the engine, the pulleys on the engine, in time and synchronized with each other. Now I've done a crude drawing on the screen behind me, so let's have a look at that. So what we've got is we have a crankshaft at the bottom here, and we have on this particular vehicle, we've got 2 camshafts at the top and a chain that runs all the way around the end and keeps the top and the bottom in time. Now if this was to break, then the pistons and the valves inside the engine would smash together and cause a catastrophic failure. Now there is a sensor at the bottom for the crankshaft sensor, which is our crankshaft sensor that we showed you, and then there's one on the camshaft. So this measures, so on each of these pulleys we will find that there will be teeth or grooves on that sensor, and then what you'll find is there will be a gap that it will measure as it goes round. So it'll be like a toothed gap there kind of thing that's bigger than the rest. That allows the management system on the vehicle to tell when the vehicle's completed one revolution, and also what position that camshaft's in at any particular time. The same thing will be said for the crankshaft sensor as well. So that'll have a missing tooth on a reluctor ring. So the camshaft sensors, or both these sensors, are what we call Hall effect sensors. So what you'll see on a scope is you'll see this coming up, it's counting the teeth. Every time the magnet passes across the surface of the reluctor ring, which is the ring on the actual shaft, it will pull that magnet to, in this case I believe it's 12 volts. So it will go 12 volts down, 12 volts down for each individual tooth that it passes. So when it gets to what we want to say is top dead center on the vehicle, what it will do is there'll be a gap. It will miss a tooth, and then it will carry on and carry on measuring the teeth. Now this is what this bit here is what we're going to call top dead center. So this has to marry up with this point here kind of thing, and again they remain synchronized all the time. So what we want to see, this is a good thing about having an oscilloscope in your workshop, is it is an immeasurable. We can measure this, we can have a look. We're not guessing that it's a sensor, we're not guessing it's a chain. We're going to inspect it and see if we can prove one way or the other. So this is kind of just a rough idea of how this is going to work for anybody that doesn't really know. Now we're going to get onto the vehicle, we're going to do some tests on the actual sensors and see if we can find out the culprit. Right, our Snap-on Zeus has got a 4-channel oscilloscope attached to it. We're going to use 3 of the channels today. We're going to start off by, we're going to have a look at the crankshaft sensor signal, and we're going to measure at the 3-wire sensor. We've got a green wire, a yellow wire and a black wire. Now I'm going to superimpose a picture of the wiring diagram for it so we can see what we got. So we should have a power supply in, we should have a ground, and we should have a signal wire. So all 3, we're going to measure all 3 just to make sure there's no dropouts and no iffy signals. And then we're going to move on to the cam sensor, and then we're going to compare the 2 together and see what we got. So yeah, let's get in there and plug our wires in. So So here's our sensor. So we're going to go our yellow channel and we're going to try and plug in to one of these. It doesn't really matter what we plug into, with which wire, which channel, because we know once we get it up on the screen we'll be able to see it should all make sense. So we're going to get a second channel into the middle one. The middle one's our signal wire, pin 2. We're going to get that in there like that, so that's 2. And then we're going to get our third channel, which is our blue probe. Now if you notice as well, that all the probes, all the back probes, line up with the colours of the wires, because only heathens and really weird people would think to mix up the colours of the probes and the colours of the wires, just because, yeah, it's an OCD thing, and it looks pretty, and you can match up what goes where. So, right, so that's all plugged in. We've grounded our scope as well at the battery. We're going to start the vehicle and we're going to have a look at our sensor scope trace and see if it looks okay. Right, so our scope trace is running. Hopefully you can see that okay. So at the top here, at 14 volts, our blue trace, that is obviously into our power supply for the sensor. Down the bottom here in the yellow, on 0 volts, we have got our sensor ground. And in the green trace in between the two is our signal wire. Now, if we saw this power supply drop at any point, that can affect the signal. And if we see the ground ping up, then we can see a problem there as well. Now, you probably didn't hear that in the background, but the engine note just dipped, indicating that potentially the engine management system has seen an issue. Now, what we can see on our trace, if we just pause that there, is what I said about earlier, is we've got a toothed ring on the crankshaft, and it's measuring each of the tooth. So every time it passes by the tooth, it draws the magnet or switches the magnet inside the sensor and brings it up to 12 volts until it gets to this point here. Now this will be our top dead center marker, and you can see it's probably missing, it's missing 1 or 2 teeth out of there, and it uses this to determine the position of the engine, this bit. So as it rotates round, every time it comes up to, let's call it 12 o'clock, say, this will be 2 missing teeth. So we can tell based off of this waveform that our crankshaft position sensor is working properly. So what we're going to do, because they're both the same type sensor, they're both Hall effect sensors, we're going to plug into our camshaft sensor and we're going to see if we get a similar trace. So the one down the back of the engine, the camshaft position sensor, is a little bit more awkward to get on the wiring, so bear with me and I will take the probes out of this camshaft sensor and then we will pop it into the camshaft sensor and see what we've got. Okay, so we're in. So we can start it up. So let's start it up and we'll look at our trace. Right, so this is our camshaft sensor. Now I've zoomed it out a bit so we can see everything, hopefully get it all in one thing. So let's just move that across a little bit and see if we can get it all captured all in. It looks like we can. Right, okay, so that's one revolution of the camshaft. So again, we're looking at for dips on our supply voltage. That's okay. We're looking for spikes in our earth side. That's okay. And we can see that we're making good square waveforms on our camshaft sensor signal. So looking back at Dan, load, we can see, you can see kind of the matchups there. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug both sensors in on the signal wires, and we're going to try and match up the camshaft signal to the crankshaft signal. Now this is a known bad and that's a known good, which helps us in any time we're doing any scoping. A known good waveform is kind of what we want to be able to see. So yeah, let's now do our comparative tests between the two and see what we got. So our cam and crank waveforms. The yellow trace is our crankshaft sensor. Our blue trace, hopefully you can see that well enough, is our camshaft sensor. Now I've superimposed these two white lines just to try and help guide us in. Let's zoom in a bit so you can see that better. Now our known good waveform is showing that the back of, let's just turn that off a second. So the back of our camshaft, when we have the two spikes, should line up directly with the middle of there, yeah, for our good one. I'll superimpose a good image on there so you can see it. And then if we go over to our, where we've got the 4 spikes on our cam, or 4 protrusions on our cam where it's measuring, that should line up directly, or the back of this second protrusion should line up directly with there. So that white line should be over there, and it's not, and that is showing that the engine timing is actually out. So what does that mean for the vehicle and the way it runs? So there you have it. We've completed the testing portion of it, all non-obtrusive testing, which is what we want. We found a discrepancy in the engine timing, and we can see that it's ever so slightly out. Now as the engine warms up or temperature changes in the engine occur, you'll probably find that will stretch a little bit more or a little bit less, kind of thing, affecting, may even be worse than that at certain points in time. Once the engine management system sees that the synchronization between the cam and the crank sensor are that far out, then it's preventing starting, and that's why he's getting a no start occur. Also, the fact that it cut out is down to the fact that the engine timing had moved to such a degree that it was too far out for the engine management system to cope. So in order to rectify the problem on this engine, it needs a new timing chain kit. Now this is a 2004 Micra, so the likelihood is it's going to be an uneconomical repair, because it is engine and gearbox out on the floor, strip the engine to change it, because they're just so tight in there you can't get to them. So we've given the customer, well, we will be giving the customer a full report, and they can make a decision based off of that. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Check out our other videos, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on the social media sections as well. We've got Instagram and Facebook. Give us a like, give us a share. It's always appreciated. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.